Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Villa on Tour and welcome to very sunny Paris. Si, how you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm great, not too bad.
Absolutely loving life. Now, you're probably wondering how we got here. Roll it back to Sunday morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently Sunday. The time is 8:51. We woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. A very early start, obviously beating Forest last night and then getting up very early this morning. We're currently at Medway Services in Kent, somewhere about 30-40 minutes from Dover. Getting flashbacks and like deja vu to Bruges way, where I was literally stood in this exact spot about to get the ferry again. It was that easy and that simple last time. We're doing the same again, but instead of going to Dunkirk, we're going to Calais and then getting the train from Calais down to Paris, which is just under a couple of hours, I think. If we were going to drive all the way to Paris, it would take like 4.5 hours from Calais, so we thought we'd get the rapid train, nice and easy, and we'll be in Paris tonight. So a long day of travelling, but it's going to be a good one. In beautiful weather, hopefully the journey over on the boat is nice and calm. No seasickness, please. So we're going to talk about the game in a little bit more detail a little bit later in this show slash podcast slash episode, whatever it turns out to be. We're going to talk about our plans in Paris as well, but before we do that, check out how our trip over on the boat was. Second ever time I've done this, getting the ferry over to France. Passports at the ready. I found this really exciting last time, so I'm looking forward to this. Right, we're making our way onto the boat now. It's a lot busier than when we went to Bruges. There was only about 5 or 6 cars, it felt like, when we went to Bruges, but obviously I think it's half term for various schools and stuff, so it's a lot busier now. Plenty of cars and lorries and all sorts going on. Proper rocking this boat, isn't it? And you get travel sick and seasick, so you're not loving it.
Yeah, we've literally just left the port and I already feel a bit wobbly.
Yeah, it's about an hour over to Calais. We'll have a few hours there and then it's a train down to Paris. I think you're looking forward to getting back on land, aren't you?
Yes, I don't really have sea legs, so
No.
let's get back on land.
Yeah, we just tried to have a photo with the flag we had to grip onto for dear life, otherwise it was going to be lost in the English Channel and never seen again. But we got the image, thanks to Tiff. Yeah, let's get back on land. I'll tell you what, this boat is absolutely lovely. Last time we came, it was on DFDS, but now we're on P&O, so we've gone like upper level. Tiff and Simon have found like the ultimate seats on the... There's a magician behind. Like, they've even got like onboard entertainment. A magician. Unbelievable. Tiff and Simon have found like the ultimate like hack seats where they're just like lying down, which I think's for the best because it is rocking a little bit, let's just put it that way. Look at these two, right? What's going on here then? The journey over was a little bit wavy. Now, when we did it for Bruges, the boat was absolutely fine. Craig didn't actually come on the boat for Bruges because he just didn't fancy it, he was scared. It was fine for Bruges, but this time, a little bit wavy, and you forgot your sickness pills as well.
Yeah, but you know, it was all right there. It was a bit choppy, but yeah, I mean, we found these like sofas, didn't we, where you could practically like lie down sort of thing. So,
do you think that's what they were for? Just people who felt a little bit sick?
I think so. What else would they be there for?
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, yeah, it was a bit choppy, but I don't think it was terrible. It wasn't awful, was it? Do
you know what? It felt like, you know, when you've had like 4 or 5 pints in the pub and you go to the toilet and you stood at your urinal and you're thinking, I've had a couple here. It felt a little bit like that. So walking around was a little bit nervy, but once you were sat down or lay down in these two's case, it was absolutely fine. They had a magician as well. Like, we were just sat there and in the background there was loads of kids going wild because there was loads of like school trips and stuff. Then there was this magician going on, like it was like Mr. Bean. It's wild.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it. The entertainment on the ship. Yeah,
proper like cruise ship entertainment.
It was. Yeah. Did give those vibes like you're on a proper cruise, like around like the Med or the Canaries or something like that. Yeah.
Instead, we were just on the English Channel. But we got to Calais, we drove off. Calais was an absolute ghost town. I know it was a Sunday, like fair enough, but I know what the French do, and this is what they do, like they close in the afternoon. We were trying to find somewhere to eat. Everywhere was just closed, like bizarre. Again, I know it was a Sunday, but just odd. We have made it to Calais. We've just left Simon's car at a 1-star hotel. I hope it's there when we get back. It's there behind me. It didn't look amazing, but yeah, at least it's a secure car park. We'll see about that. But yeah, we've got about 3 hours till our train to Paris, so it's a Sunday. Nowhere looks open. Calais is absolutely dead. Like, that's just right in the middle of it. Like, the main station's over there, and the place is just dead. So we'll try and attempt to find a pub or somewhere we can just chill out for a few hours before we've got to get this train over to Paris. Well, this is pretty. This is very nice. I like the look of this. But look though, for a bit of context, we're right in the middle of town. Like, the main station is literally just there, and it's pretty much dead. It's so quiet.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure what to think about Calais. It was it had a bit of a weird vibe about it, didn't it? But yeah, I mean, we parked up in Calais just because I didn't want to drive obviously the whole way down to Paris, and so parked up in Calais, and obviously we booked to get the train. But yeah, it was a weird vibe. Maybe it was because it was Sunday, but it was a bit weird.
We had some lovely food though. We went to this really nice restaurant. I think there was quite a few restaurants we went into, and they were like, "Oh, we're closing." So we were losing hope. We went into this really nice one. What was it called? Like pad thai.
Yeah, you had pad thai. Yeah,
that was really nice actually. Chicken pad thai, and the food was unbelievable. You had a steak. I think it was like a. Was it like a steak restaurant? There was loads of like beef and.
It was like it was like a grill restaurant. I had like a steak, and it came with like a few like chips and some salad. It was, do you know what? It was decent.
It was actually really, really good. You had a Fanta, I had a really nice beer, Tiff had a pina colada, so we were absolutely loving it. And the weather, like we said, I think it's going to be unbelievable all week, like 20 degrees touching. And Paris, like there's minimal wind. Like you'd see my hairline absolutely struggling if there was wind. So I'm glad it's not too windy. There's 2 stations in Calais, train stations, for us to get the train down to Paris. We needed to get from one to the other one, and we were going to get a train from one to the other, and then we got in there, and it was about 10 minutes till our train, and we were like, well, there's no platform number. So we went to the security guard, and he was like, oh yeah, it's a replacement bus.
Yeah, it was like being back in the UK, wasn't it, with our very inconsistent trains, and so yeah, rail replacement bus, and it was like it was 8 miles away down the road as well. It wasn't even right outside the station. We had to try and navigate our way to the rail replacement bus because we literally had one train we could get to Paris, and so it was a bit of a race against time. But
you know what? There was like a minute where I was like, "What are we going to do here?" Because there was the train that we'd booked that was like an hour and a half to Paris.
Yeah.
But if we didn't make that one, there was a much slower one, about an hour later, that would have taken like 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So thank God we made that. I was a little bit nervous, but an hour and a half down to Paris, and that train absolutely flew down France. An hour and a half to do like an equivalent of a 4.5 hour drive. It was rapid. I think we got a similar one when we came here and then went to Rennes for and Lille actually for obviously the Conference League game last year. It goes like 210 kilometres an hour. What's that, like 140? Like you look out the window and it's absolutely mad.
Yeah, it puts our trains to shame, really,
it really
doesn't it?
And they're double deckers. Oh, I love it, man.
And you get a seat allocated to you. There's no like fighting for a seat.
Honestly,
no standing in the aisles. It was really good actually. It was absolutely perfect.
There was someone with a cat next to us as well. Like, I was just like enthralled in that, and we had like the Manchester Derby on as well. I was more interested in watching the cast for obvious reasons, but honestly, so simple. Double-decker trains. It makes a mockery of our train system, but we're not here to talk about that. We got to Paris, and I think at that point it was like a 13-hour day, wasn't it? Traveling. We woke up at like whatever it was, 5 o'clock, probably earlier for you because you were driving. Massive credit for that, by the way. But we got the metro over. We're sort of on the outskirts, like east-ish of Paris. We got to our hotel, and do you know what? It was fairly decent. Check it out. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to VOT HQ for the next 4 nights, I think it is. Currently Sunday, we're leaving on Thursday. So yeah, 4 nights. You enter, straight on, bathroom, not too bad. Absolutely boiling in there. And then you've got the room where me and Tiffany will be staying. Not too bad. Hang on, let me show you the view as well. It's not too shabby, like the side streets of Paris. Not too bad. Front door there, and then if you were to come the other way, nice little bench set up there. Another bed, sofa bed, kitchen set up as well. When Craigie comes in a couple of days, he'll be staying on the sofa bed, and then Simon will be there. So plenty of beds. It's nice and spacious actually, I like it. This is my happy place. Hopefully after what happens on Wednesday night, Paris will be my happy place, we'll see. And then this is the view out of the other window. Not too much going on. That obviously is new. I don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, nice view, not too bad. I know a lot of people always like to say, oh, you must spend so much money on these trips, annual leave, all this, that and the other. For 4 nights here, each, it equated to like 60 quid, which isn't that bad. 4 nights in Paris, we were a little bit out the way, but it's fine on the tube or whatever it is. 60 quid, 4 nights in a place like this. You can't argue with that, can you?
It's quite nice, you know, it's on the outskirts, which is kind of, you know, it's what from here, about half an hour from the Eiffel Tower, which is, you know, it's a bit further out, but obviously you're not going to get somewhere right by here, right in the centre of Paris for that sort of price. You're probably looking at like hundreds per night, if not more. And so
Paris is so expensive.
Exactly, and so yeah, we decided to save money like that. But it's nice. It's not like that hotel we stayed in Blackpool last weekend. Anyways, it's slightly different vibe.
There's no damp on the ceiling.
No,
I mean, like going into it and going up the stairs, like it's an apartment block. Like it's not the prettiest. But I think the Eiffel Tower and the Parc des Princes, the PSG ground, are sort of on the west side, and we're on the east side. So ideally, it would have been great to stay somewhere around here. But like it takes like you said, half an hour on the metro. And the metro. I mean, we literally just come off it here. This system is so annoying. Like in London, obviously, it's tap on, tap off, easy, contactless. Here, you get, what's it called? That weird card that like everyone here seems to have.
Navigo, it's
it's
one of these.
Props.
Like a weird, like old-fashioned style card where You have to even get like a passport-size photo attached to it. We haven't done it yet. We have just had the photos taken. We've got to attach it to it. Absolute madness. Like you think like a capital city in 2025 doesn't have a contactless system or any sort of way of buying like a day sort of or a weekly pass without attaching your photo ID for some reason.
No, it's such a faff. It's either get like a week pass, which is what that card is. It's like sets us up, so we're set now for like the next 5 days. Or you get the really tiny like single travel tickets, which are really easy to lose. I think we did that last time. I remember going to like Paris Gare du Nord, was it before Lille? There was only one ticket machine in the main station, and obviously people were like not knowing what to do because it's not the clearest. So thankfully we've sorted travel out for this week completely done. I think the metro system, once you get your sort of ticket sorted, is absolutely fine. I know we're on the other side of the city, but we're on the same line as the Eiffel Tower and the PSG ground. So to the ground, like on Wednesday on match day, it's going to take us about an hour to get there. But at least we're on the same line. I know Villa Police released something a couple of days ago, didn't they, saying make sure you use the right line, because although it might go to the station another line, you might come across PSG ultras. So metro line number 9, we're set, we're sweet. No ultras on our line.
Yeah, I mean we couldn't have worked that out any better. We haven't got a clue about that before, obviously when we booked it, but as it happens, our apartment is literally on that line, and so we don't have to mess around, change and stuff. But yeah, it's fairly easy. It reminds me of the London Underground. Really, it's really fairly simple. Once you sort out the faff of getting your tickets, it's fairly easy.
There was a bloke that had fallen asleep on the metro yesterday whilst we were going to our hotel, and he was just like leaning, and like on this woman, and then his glasses fell off, his phone like fell on the floor, and then eventually a bloke came on and started shaking him. But apart from that, the metro's been sweet. It's been fine. So like I said, it's currently Monday afternoon. We've had a bit of a chill day today. We haven't done too much. I think we've got a full day obviously tomorrow, so we're going to get some touristy bits in. You've been to Paris. Have you been to Paris before, apart from Rennes or Lille?
No. The only times I've been to Paris was pre the friendly in Rennes, and then slightly after it, and then just that couple of nights. Sorry, no, one night when we went to Lille last year.
It was after Lille, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I've never done any sort of like extended time in Paris. So this will be like the longest sort of stint I've done in Paris.
Yeah, and we're so lucky with the weather. I know we're talking about it again, but we're so lucky. Like especially in April, it's sort of that funny time, isn't it? I think in terms of touristy stuff, we're going to fit in all of tomorrow. But the good thing is about it being a late kickoff as well, 9 o'clock, is that we can chill out and do touristy things on Wednesday as well. You got the Louvre, Arc de Triomphe from that street there. We're obviously at the Eiffel Tower at the moment, so we'll tick that off. Am I missing anything?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's probably things to fill about 2 weeks in Paris, which we obviously won't get around. But I mean, we'll squeeze in as much as we possibly can anyway.
Do you know what? Tiff is sat just here. Her parents and grandparents gave us a book, actually. They'll want me to mention that. So we've got a book that's got all of the hints and tips in it that's going to tell us loads of stuff. So forget all of what I've just said. Tiff's parents, don't worry, we're going to use the book. Have you got the book? Oh, I haven't got the book. Okay, fine. Should we talk a little bit about the game then and the tie? Yeah. PSG in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. I mean, it says it all that we've made it so far in the Champions League that the weather's still decent. Like, we're not out in like January or February or any of that rubbish. PSG in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Is it sunk in yet? Is it going to sink in when we go in the Parc des Princes?
I don't think it will. I think it's really hard to put into words, isn't it? I mean, the latter stages of the Champions League. I mean, you're right. You're talking about we're in April, we're at the business end of the season, and we are still in the
3 competitions as well.
League. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it does feel surreal, and I'm not sure this moment probably will sink in until maybe a few years down the line, or maybe at a time when Villa aren't as successful as we currently are, sort of thing. Maybe a time will come when you think, God, do you remember standing on them steps in front of the Eiffel Tower before the quarter final of the Champions League? So yeah, it's really surreal, and it's hard to acclimatise yourself to it at the moment, isn't it? But it's just sensational, and like I said yesterday, didn't I, that really we are living out our best dream at the moment, aren't we?
You said to me, like I think it was in the car down to Brighton, that we've made it that far in the Champions League now that, okay, it's not just like, oh, we're just living the dream at the moment, just enjoy it. We're that deep into it that, you know, if we have a decent result here on Wednesday, we need to go and win the whole thing, don't we?
That's the thing. If you win this tie against PSG, which is almightily hard, but if you win this tie and then say let's just say hypothetically we have a Real Madrid in the semi-final. The problem is, yes, it'd be great for like the trip to Madrid and at the Bernabeu, but once you get to the semi-final, you want to go on and win it, don't you? And that's the thing now. It's going from, you know, everything's a bonus and we're taking all these experiences to, you know what, we're quite deep in this competition now. We've actually got maybe a bit of a chance. I don't know how big a chance, but we've got maybe a chance.
Mate, believe. How do you see the tie going on Wednesday then? I think we've talked about it a little bit, obviously off camera and stuff, but I think all Villa fans are saying just sort of stay in the game on Wednesday. Like PSG, a ridiculous side. Let's not forget how I'm not going to say poor, but they weren't at their very best in the league phase. Where did they come? Like mid-table? Was it mid-table?
Yeah,
I know they really struggled, didn't they? And then they picked up a couple of...
It was about 16th, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you compare that to Villa, who are 8th. Like the way some people are talking, it's like PSG have blasted the league phase, and Villa have just scraped through. But it hasn't really come out that way. And don't get me wrong, like PSG are flying. They won the league on Saturday, didn't they? And they're like 22 points clear. They haven't lost a single game in Ligue 1 all season. Compare that to Marseille, who are second, and they've lost 8. Like they've absolutely flown. And some of the football they're playing. I mean, talk about that Liverpool game. Like some of the football they played at Anfield was scary, wasn't it?
I think it's really hard to analyse them because obviously we've got that we've got it fresh in our heads from that Liverpool game and how unreal they looked, which is obviously understandable. They're obviously a great side, but things kind of turned for them in January, sort of thing. I think, and their form started to pick up in January time. But prior to that, you've got to remember that they haven't. I think they lost twice all season in domestically, but
have they? I looked this morning. It said 0.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unbeaten, man.
No, it was. No, sorry.
It was in the all
They've
comps?
lost. No, they've lost twice at home in the Champions League.
Okay.
And that's the key thing to analyse here. They've lost twice in the Champions League at home, and so they're not unbeatable. But the thing is, we've got to get our tactics spot on, haven't we? And I think Emery's got to work out like a game plan, which is really, really going to suit us to play that game. I don't think we'll be taking the game to them. I think if we do that, then we're opening ourselves up far too much. But look, we've got the tools to hurt them sort of on the counter attack, in transition. And so I think if we can keep it tight, I know it's that cliche, but if you can keep it tight, don't let the game run away from you, because if you do, then obviously the tie's kind of over. You don't want to be taking back a 3-0 loss back to Villa Park.
You want to still be in the game at Villa Park because we know anything can happen at Villa Park, and if we are still in the tie, next Tuesday is going to be special. Like all the Champions League games at Villa Park have been absolutely fantastic, but this one next Tuesday, if we are still in the tie, it's going to be magical.
It is, and that's what you got to be. If you lose 1-0, 2-1, like on Wednesday night, or I don't want to be a pessimist, so I'm not saying I'll take a defeat or I'll be happy with defeat, because I wouldn't be. I still want us to at least get a draw to come back to Villa Park with. But even if it is a very narrow defeat, though, it brings us back to Villa Park with a chance of turning it back round. And at Villa Park with our home form, we haven't lost in the Champions League this season. PSG have lost twice in the Champions League at home this season, and so. Yeah, I think we've got a chance. If we stay in the game, I think we've got a chance. The other thing I'll say, I do think that Villa, in terms of Villa's style, I think it will actually help us more than it helped Liverpool against PSG, if I'm being honest. I think PSG quite liked how Liverpool were very sort of at them in their faces. Yeah. Villa won't do that. Villa definitely won't do that. They'll sit off them a little bit more, which is kind of what PSG like to do to teams as well. So obviously something's got to give there. Yeah. And look, and PSG are a great side, and they can really hurt us. We know that. But I'm confident. I think we're in a good place at the moment. We've won 7 on the bounce now in all competitions. We're in a really good place. Nothing to lose for Villa. Anything's a bonus now in the Champions League, and so I'm fairly confident we can get a positive result to bring back to Villa Park.
I think there were major clues in terms of team news from what we saw against Forest on Saturday. I think there were a couple of raised eyebrows when that team news came out. The only survivors from the Brighton game before were Martinez, Tielemans, Rodgers. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was a completely changed defence. So you're looking at that bench against Forest. You've got Ramsey, Rashford, Kamara, McGinn, Luka Dean, Torres potentially, Konza, Cash. It gives you a massive clue into what the team news is going to be on Wednesday and how we're going to set up.
Kind of. You'd expect those players to come back in, but you never know though. You never know. I don't know though. It's kind of like we've got so many good players though. We've got such a good squad of players now that maybe just felt those players were the ideal ones to play on Saturday in terms of combating what Forest. I don't know. I mean, more so it's probably rotation with some of them, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, like I say, we've got so many options there that. Even whatever team it is, you feel like we can give them a good go. But what a lovely thing to be able to do: rest players or rotate players if you want to do that at home against Forest, who are third in the league. Yeah, still win the game.
It's mad.
And then come to PSG on a Wednesday night and then make maybe 6-7 changes again. Yeah. So I think it's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
It is mad, and I think I'll pick out a couple of areas. I'm not going to go through the whole team and who will play on Wednesday because no one cares. But Martinez is going to have a huge role to play. He loves playing in France. He did an interview with Sky a couple of days ago talking about playing in France when we played Lille. He loves getting that abuse and he thrives off it. I think another area of the pitch that is going to be key is defensively. People may look at Pau Torres coming in, and I think obviously he was incredible in that Bayern Munich game, whatever, and he's played the majority of the Champions League games. But for me, I think it's got to be our strongest defensive partnership, which is going to be Konsa and Mings.
Maybe, but then I don't know though. European football suits Pere Torres though in terms of his sort of passing style, and I look at how good he was and how vital he was in that win away at Leipzig back in December when he played. You know, remember at that time?
We were rough that night though, defensively a little bit.
We were, but it was his sort of passing, getting us up the pitch though, that helped us out a little bit. And I just wonder in terms of keeping the ball, which we will have to do against PSG, we can't keep giving it away. In terms of keeping the ball and to keep that possession and get that pressure off us for a little bit. Maybe Torres will be the way to go. I don't know. I can't call it. I know what you're saying. Defensively, at the moment, Mings and Konsa feels like our most solid pairing, but I wouldn't be surprised with anything at the moment. I really wouldn't.
I mean, it's a nice luxury to have, isn't it? And I think when I was planning this, I said to you, do you reckon Watkins or Rashford? I mean, that's an interesting topic. Watkins, people have either way very strong opinions on Ollie Watkins, but Rashford at the moment, I'm surprised he's played at number 9 so much. And I think on the counter-attack in this sort of game, he's obviously had really good games at PSG away from Manchester United previously. I can't see past it.
Yeah, I think it'll be Rashford, and I think purely for the fact that it's his pace on the counter-attack. That's going to be our best way in against PSG, let's be honest. And then when you do get Rashford in on a sort of a one-on-one, like saw against Brighton last week, you fancy him, don't you? And so I think it probably will be Rashford as number 9. But yeah, I've been quite surprised at how much he's played there as number 9 and how much he's kind of... he's played quite well at number 9 as well, which I've been kind of surprised at because all the rhetoric from Man U fans has always been that he's absolutely hopeless at number 9, and so I think it'll be Rashford,
Right, I'm getting a bit of shade on me now because it's about, what time is it? I don't know, it's probably about 6 o'clock and the sun's going down a little bit. So we're going to wrap this up. There will be another video on the channel. This is the first of 2 from Paris. So this is obviously today and the travelling yesterday. But the video that will be out on Thursday morning will be Tuesday, so all of our touristy stuff. And then of course match day where loads of other Villa fans will come to Paris. We'll probably see loads of them, loads of flags, loads of colours around Paris, claret and blue. Absolutely loving it. So stay tuned for that on the channel. Get involved in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking ahead of this quarter-final against PSG in the Champions League. Leave a like on this video. 1,500 will be absolutely fantastic. Subscribe if you haven't already. Villa boys are in the Champions League in Paris. Up the Villa, son.